mission, a vision, and I'm going to talk real quick about what those are. We're not going to go through this too deep because we don't really have a lot of time. So I'm just getting your appetite on this stuff. Internal and external environment analysis, your strengths and weaknesses, you make some goals and objectives, action plans, and then you establish some criteria to evaluate whether you're going where you need to go. That is the plan. Now, this looks like it's not all that difficult, but I will tell you it takes a lot of thinking. You've got to put homework into it, and you've got to really think through it. If you take the time to do it, it will free up your time later, because now you set your business up, your business, to run my business. What happens, and you as a realtor, you're sole proprietor now, what happens if you get in a car accident and cannot work for 4 weeks? You'd be on the street, right? The wheels are going to come right off the wagon, right? Because you're doing everything. Wouldn't it be great if someone could come in and just pick up where you left off and keep running? Even if that meant you split some of the stuff on them, but they didn't have to think about all this stuff. They knew exactly what you were doing, where you were going, it was all laid out. See, that's the beauty of having a plan. Anybody can come in. You know, companies do that all the time. They have manuals on this stuff, so that when the CEO quits or has a heart attack and dies, anybody can come in and pick up where he left off. And yeah, they miss him, but you know what? He can be replaced, the business doesn't fall apart. You're not a big, huge multinational corporation, but it doesn't mean you can't have a plan, just not as elaborate. We're going to talk about what the mission is. This is a purpose. Now, there's an old, you guys ever hear the story of the 3 bricklayers? They're out there building something, and somebody walks up to the first bricklayer and says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm laying bricks." And they ask the second guy, "What are you doing?" "I'm making 15 bucks an hour." They ask the third guy, "What are you doing?" "I am building a magnificent cathedral." See, he had vision. The problem is he got fired because they were supposed to be building a convenience store. But if you put that aside, he still thought he had vision. It was a good thing. You got to admire him for that. And that's the idea of having a vision for what you're really doing. All the little tasks that you're doing that seem mundane add up to a big picture. So why do you exist? Why are you doing this? You know, you could do anything else to make money, couldn't you? If the only reason you did this was to make a lot of money without having to go to a lot of college and get a lot of experience, you could sell illegal drugs. Is that not true? There's a reason you're not doing that. You must have a higher purpose than that, right? So there's a lot of things that we could do to make money that we don't because we think real estate's a better way to go. It's a legitimate business. We are serving people. Are you not? Food, shelter, and clothing. Your necessities, what are you providing to people? Shelter. That's a big deal. You're making people's lives better. That's probably a lot of why somebody went into this business as opposed to any other business you could do. So why do you exist? And it has to be significant to you and your clients. It has to mean something to you. But I go to different businesses, and sometimes I'll ask, "Do you have a mission statement?" They'll say, "Yes, we do." And I'll say, "Great, what is it?" And they go to look it up. And don't look it up. Tell me. If you don't know it, it's not really your mission. Why are you in this business? It's just a few sentences. If you don't know why you're in here, if you can't articulate to me in 3 or 4 sentences why you're doing real estate for a business, you need to go home and think about that. And tell yourself why you're doing this. Right? Okay? It has to be significant. And it's something that your clients can buy into. It needs to be enduring, something that goes on because it's a mission. It's why you're doing what you're doing for life. It gives you focus. It gives you boundaries. If you have boundaries, you can make decisions very easily. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. Okay? Boundaries don't limit our freedom, they give us our freedom. If you don't believe that, you take a group of small children and you set them out to play in an area that has no fences around it. Where are they all going to end up playing? Pretty close to the center in a little group. But if you put a nice tall fence all the way around it, where are they going to play? All the way out to the boundary of the property, aren't they? All the way up against the fence. Because they have the freedom, they're safe. They know their boundaries. And that actually gave them more freedom. Alright? So, provides a focus, gives you boundaries. That's a purpose. That's a mission, that's a purpose. That's not your vision. People can be confused. Your vision is the where you're going to be. And remember I asked you, do you have a plan for where you're going to be in 5 years? And this one takes a little thought, but before you put a lot of thought into it, the quick test is close your eyes, envision me and my real estate business 5 to 10 years from now. Am I in my house? Am I in my office? Am I in this town or in another town? Am I doing commercial? Am I doing residential? Do I have people working underneath me, and if so, how many? And it's a real quick thing. What kind of car am I driving? Okay? deep down, we kind of have that. We just never really stop to articulate it and really focus on it. And so if you do the quick test and kind of envision where you think you are, and then start from there, then the hard work isn't so hard because you kind of already know where you're going. It's probably already in there. It's probably what gets you out of bed every day, because deep down you know that. A foundation for development of your objectives. All your goals you're going to set are going to be based on this. Why? Because you know where you're going. And when you know where you're going, you can set a direction, a path to get there. It needs to be succinct, brief. This is not a paragraph, this is not a tome. This is just a real quick, in 5 years, my business is this. Just bullet pointed out. This is what my business looks like. Inspiring, there's no joy in having a vision that's small. Okay? If your vision is 5 years from now, I'm doing exactly what I'm doing today, only I'm making $100 more a year. That is not getting you out of bed every morning. That is nothing to get excited about. Okay? There's something called BHAGs. You ever hear of BHAG? You ever hear of those? Big, hairy, audacious goals. Not completely unattainable, but they challenge you. They're things you get excited about. And the great thing about them is if you fall a little bit short, you're still way further ahead than where you thought you would be at that point in time. That's a whole different seminar. I'm not getting into that. I do a whole seminar on goal setting, but that's a different thing. So it has to be meaningful to current and potential clients, which means your vision needs to fit the clients. That's how you know which clients are yours, because they fit your vision. If your vision is to be the #1 condominium real estate agent in this area, well, then you know that you're not taking clients out to look at office buildings. Those aren't your clients, because that didn't fit your vision. All right? You assess things. The situation analysis is basically, what are your strengths and weaknesses? What do I do better than anybody else in town? And what do I not do so well? Because you know what? I probably shouldn't go after clients that force me to do all the stuff I don't do well, because there's other people out there doing it better. Okay? I can focus a little bit. My strengths, focus on that kind of stuff. Okay? Now, it's okay to realize your weaknesses and go about trying to make them into strengths over time. For example, I'm standing up here in front of you talking. You guys probably don't believe this, but at one time in my life, I'd have been scared to death. One of my weaknesses, when I was in school, I was sick every day there was a presentation, because I would not stand in front of that class and talk to anybody. Well, you identify weakness and you can attack it. That's fine. So I'm not saying just ignore them. What I'm saying is make your business work towards what you do really well. What you do really well. Okay? The external assessment, again, identify the opportunities. We can't control the external environment, but we can see what it is and seize it. One of the things that's out there is opportunity. It's there. Even today, there are still agents doing really good right now. Okay? They found the opportunities. And they also identify the threats and avoided those potholes. Because there's threats to your business now. Could be legislation that's coming out. That could be a threat to what you're doing. There's a lot of crazy things going on. Every time the legislature gets together, it affects loans, it affects real estate law, title, all those type of things. So we want to identify those things and be able to avoid those potholes. And anything that basically affects our future. And we're going to make objectives based on that. And this is our plan to guide our vision, because now we know where we're going and now we know where we are. And we can make a path to get there. And it'll take you from where we are to where we're going. It's realistic, but it's challenging. And you put deadlines on it. If there is no last minute, it doesn't get done. Is that true? Deadlines. That's why all your escrows have a closing date. Or they always be an escrow. Right? Gotta close it out. Force people to get off the dime. Everything happens in the last 48 hours before the escrow closes. Everything's done. Because there's a deadline. We have to do it. All right. By doing this, we help plan how we want things to go. And that whole organization chart we saw up there where you're doing everything, you start making a plan for how you're going to hand off one box at a time. One as you expand, as you do better, as you grow, as you have the resources to do it. And it makes things a lot easier. Some of it you can hire out to someone, you can hire an assistant to do some of this stuff, whatever it is, as you grow. Now right now you're thinking, well, I don't want to do that. I don't make enough money to barely feed myself. Well, that's because we haven't started this process yet. We'll get there. It's just too hard to do everything for yourself. We mentioned about how tough it is to do multitasking. The one person I ever met that could really multitask well was a Siamese twin. So they had a good handle on all that sort of thing. They could actually think of two things at once. And the interesting, where I met this person, actually, I dated the Siamese twin. And I remember the first time I came back, my parents said, well, how was it? And I said, did you have a good time? I said, well, yes and no. And actually, I considered marrying her because I wanted to have a wife and a woman on the side, but that's a different story. Okay. All right. 5 to 10 year planning horizon. Okay? You're looking ahead. You're putting your little crystal ball out there and you're looking ahead. This is that. Close your eyes, see your vision, where you're going. Your strengths are your capabilities. This is what you do that meets clients' needs better than anybody else. It gives you an advantage. You have core competencies. You have value creating skills that nobody else does because you have a unique set of them. And if you don't believe it, you have to go to listen to Wellington again because he just talked about it today. Okay, you have a certain combination of things in you. Okay, it's what you do best, and when you focus on what you do best and how that best serves the client, that works. Okay, it's the foundation for your competitive advantage because you're competing in the overall industry, but you can compete in your own little section of the industry as well and find your place where those clients know that you're the one to go to for everything. I can't tell you what it is. You guys have to figure that out, but I can help walk you through that. Okay, once we have a strategy, then we have to put it into action. We do short-term goals, 1 to 2 years, and these are, anybody here, SMART goals? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. Again, that's that other seminar. That's another whole big seminar on how to do SMART goals. Your goals need to be specific. No, I think I just want to increase my sales. That's not specific. That tells me nothing. I want to increase my sales by 5% every 6 months. That's specific. Is it measurable? I can measure that because I got a percentage in there. I can calculate what my sales are and see if I'm hitting it or not. Is it attainable? Well, you have to decide, is that workable or not? It has to be challenging, but not completely unattainable. If I set something up right now and I said, okay, the goal is you're going to be a $3 million producer next year, probably not going to happen because it's too much too fast. And what do you say? You go home and you say, I'm never going to do that. So you sit down and watch TV instead. Because why try when you can't make it? So it has to be attainable, but challenging. It has to be relevant. All that means is, do you know one definition of failure is to succeed at something that didn't matter? You ever anybody that's really good at something that doesn't matter? They succeeded at it, but they lost other things that were more important in the process. Okay, they made $1 gajillion of money, they got all the cars, but they have no friends. You succeeded at something that didn't matter. Maybe you have the highest score on your favorite Xbox game. So what? And how are you going to parlay that into anything worth anything to anybody? That's okay as a hobby, but that can't be your life's goal. You've got to succeed at what really does matter. Okay? So, and they've got to have a time frame. There's got to be some due date on this thing. Action plans is where we take this goal and we assign responsibilities and resources to it. This person, I'm going to do it, or somebody that's working for you is going to do it by this date with this amount of money. Dates is really specific there, doesn't it? Okay. So this is kind of the 30,000-foot elevation view. Okay, and so I just wanted to give you an overview. Now, we actually have a luncheon where we're planning for the board. We're going to kind of talk a little bit more about some of this stuff, but what I am putting on the schedule is a seminar if you want to learn more about this and go through the depths and walk through the process. And it's not just a matter of we're talking more about this in depth, it's a matter of you will walk out with at least the skeleton of the mission. You will walk out with at least the skeleton of the vision. You'll walk out understanding how to set the goals and objectives. You'll walk out with an understanding of how your organization looks and what boxes you need to start looking at filling in because they're the ones you don't want to do or don't do well at this point. So, I have all your, give me your business cards, contact information. As soon as that's on the schedule, I will let you know. And we can work through that if you're interested. There's other things that we can talk about as well too, but if there's any questions you have, anything that I brought up, anything that was confusing, anything you wish I would mention, we're all no. If they don't have questions, it either means A, I explained things very well, or B, everybody's asleep. Okay. I I tell my class when I'm at the college that one reason that they have to go to my lectures is because I believe that no student should ever return into the world without having been properly sedated first. I teach at a small college in Cucamonga, right? San Joaquin Valley College. I run a construction management degree program. Talk about another industry that's hard or something. Here's something I'm going to tell you off the subject, but as far as the economy goes and how rough everything